But let's first understand the impact of these tariffs. How much of the GDP loss will India be will India be facing as a result of these additional tariffs for whatever duration they last? And is this clarion call that the government has given for 100-day transformation, is this just focused on incremental fixes instead of addressing deep-rooted structural reforms?
First of all, thanks for calling me. As far as macroeconomic growth is concerned, I don't think that the impact is going to be substantial. Rather, it's going to be marginal. This is also because of the fact that if you really look at the size of the exports to US, which is to the tune of, say, $87 billion, that barely accounts for at most 2% of the GDP. And even if that gets affected, there are counteractive measures that India is already taking. Maybe, in fact, the projected growth can come down in the short run. We have this projection of 6.5%. It might come down to, say, 6.4%, 6.3%. But let's not forget the fact that India is not essentially an never encountered an export-driven growth. It has always been a domestic private consumption-driven growth ever since liberalization. So 55 to 60% of the GDP the last 2 decades has been contributed by domestic private consumption. And if you really look at or plot a graph of the GDP growth and consumption growth, you will find a clear co-movement between the two. Now, given this, the fact remains that consumption demand in India or this growth in consumption demand has been quite organic in nature. Rather, many other economies wanted to move towards this kind of a force, like China. China wants to move towards, say, the final consumption demand to around 55 to 60% of the GDP. They are stuck at around 40 to 45%. But this happened quite organically in India. So, if I look at US share in the Indian exports, it's to the tune of 18 to 20%, and many may feel that there might be a severe impact on some of these export numbers. But there are certain commodities which have what we call in economics inelastic demand. Just as suppose when you talk about, to a certain extent, diamond and gold jewelry, or even say the pharmaceutical segment. So there might not be substantial impact in those segments. Of course, there are other sectoral concerns which remain there, but and those sectoral concerns need to be counteracted with other measures. In fact, we need to think about in some way or the other getting on with the FTA with the European Union. We need to, in fact, already we are thinking of boosting our textile exports and textile business with 40 other nations. So these are some of the critical counteractive measures that really need to be put in place if we have to combat this sectoral impact of 50% 50% tariff that has been imposed by the Trump administration.